Today's reading comes from John chapter 19, verses 1 to 16. So Pilate took Jesus and had him whipped. The soldiers, having braided a crown of thorns, set it on his head, threw a purple robe over him, and approached him with, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Then they greeted him with slaps in the face. Pilate went out again and said to them, "I present him to you, but I want you to know that I do not find him guilty of any crime." Just then, Jesus came out wearing the thorn crown and purple robe. Pilate announced, "Here he is, the man." When the high priest and police saw him, they shouted in a frenzy, "Crucify! Crucify!" Pilate told them, "You take him, you crucify him. I find nothing wrong with him." The Jews answered, "We have a law, and by that law he must die, because he claimed to be the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he became even more scared. He went back into the palace and said to Jesus, "Where did you come from?" Jesus gave no answer. Pilate said, "You won't talk? You don't know that I have the authority to pardon you, and the authority to crucify you?" Jesus said, "You haven't a shred of authority over me, except that which has been given to you from heaven. That's why the one who betrayed me to you has committed a far greater fault." At this, Pilate tried his best to pardon him, but the Jews shouted him down. "If you pardon this man, you're no friend of Caesar's. Anyone setting himself up as king defies Caesar." When Pilate heard these words, he led Jesus outside. He sat down at the judgment seat in the area designated Stone Court, in Hebrew, Gabbatha. It was the preparation day for the Passover. The hour was noon. Pilate said to the Jews, "Here is your king." They shouted back, "Kill him! Kill him! Crucify him!" Pilate said, "I am to crucify your king?" The high priest answered, "We have no king except Caesar." Pilate caved in to their demand. He turned him over to be crucified. They took Jesus away, carrying his cross. Jesus went out to the place called Skull Hill. The name in Hebrew is Golgotha, where they crucified him. And with two others, one on each side, Jesus in the middle. Pilate wrote a sign and had it placed on the cross. It read, "Jesus the Nazarene, the King of the Jews."
What do you want? Truth? You'll forgive me if I don't join in the merriment. It's never as simple as you think it is. Not as clear as you imagine. Never black or white. Usually shades of grey which run together and collide. But truth itself is uncommon, elusive, like trying to catch the wind. That was Jesus' mistake. He saw it clearly, or rather he thought he did. So take off your blinkers, stop pointing your fingers at me, and consider one of the few black and whiteness bits in this sorry episode. I tried to release him. I didn't want him killed. It was what I had to do to keep the peace. The crowd had turned against him. There was no other choice. I actually quite liked the man. He had a certain steely coolness. Not aloof, but assured. It was uncomfortable. Everybody noticed it and commented on it. My own wife told me to have nothing to do with him, to release him. And as I said, that's what I wanted to do. But events got out of hand. The crowd was screaming, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" This man they called their king. This man they were so pleased to see. "Do away with him," they shouted. He's a threat to your authority. Kill him. Even his own religious leaders were frightened of him, but they were also frightened of what the crowd might say if they dealt with him themselves. They wanted me to solve their problem. They wanted their hands clean. They'd stoned enough people in the past. What a joke. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I wanted my hands clean too. You see, this man disturbed me, and I gave him so many chances to evade the bait. But it was almost as if he was determined to die, as if he wanted the nails to pierce him. After a while, he barely spoke to me. Ignored my questions. Said he was of a kingdom that had no rule under Rome. And then shut up. This condemned him, this little strutting, flouting condemned him. Because there is no kingdom, he had no power. His followers had left him, and the crowd were baying for blood. In the end, I was the one trying to save him. I said to him, "Don't you understand? I have the power to release you or to crush you." And he said, and you have to admire his impudence, that you would have no power unless it was given you from above. Though, as I say, it's not really impudence, and it's certainly more than defiance. It's a sort of madness. Only what disturbed me most about this man was he wasn't mad. It was as if he had an inner something that sustained him, that propelled him, that made him stand up to me, stand up to Rome, and stand up to the religious leaders. So much so that it was as though he was embracing that cross that we had given him, holding it as if he wasn't just doing it for himself. That's why I wanted to release him. This Barabbas that the crowd was so suddenly keen on was a monster, a murderer, a menace. But he lives, and this man, the Son of God, the King of the Jews, he dies. A plain sinner saved, and a good man, the Son of God, killed. What sense does that make? But I'm not going to take the blame for this. I spoke plainly. I said I found no guilt in him. I let the crowds decide. I called for a basin of water and washed my hands in front of them and said, "I'm innocent of this man's blood," and I walked away. What else could I do? There would have been a riot. So if you want a culprit, a scapegoat, if you want someone to say, "Look, it was me, I hammered the nails into his hands, I'm guilty, I killed him," then don't look at me. My hands are clean. Look at his own leaders. Look at the ones that handed him to me. They have the greater blame. They have the nails in their hands. Speak to Annas. Speak to the high priest Caiaphas. He hated Jesus. It was his power that was threatened, not mine. Jesus was never going to topple Rome, but he might have shaken the religious charade of their religious posturings. But I am innocent of this man's blood. Don't you understand? Innocent. Now leave me be.